Hello, welcome to another edition of North Coast History and Haunts. In this episode, we take you on a paranormal tour of Lorain County, Ohio. We're going to visit 5 different locations. Some have a legendary haunted past, some are lesser known. On each of these locations, we're going to give it a ranking. The criteria that we're going to use to rank it is by location, the haunted backstory, any paranormal activity, and finally, the overall creep factor. Let's go. Hi, welcome to another edition of North Coast History and Haunts. Today, we're taking you for a paranormal trip of Lorain County, Ohio. The trip is going to start here at the legendary Gore Orphanage. We're going to go to different spots today and take a look at them and share them with you. But today, let's go take a look at Gore Orphanage. Come follow me. Come on. The first place we're going to stop is Gore Orphanage. Gore Orphanage has been scaring people for over 100 years. If you want to go to Gore Orphanage, park at the end of this dead-end road, get out, walk down this path. This path will take you directly to the foundation of the mansion. It was not the orphanage, as some people think, but this was the mansion. If you take this road straight, this path that we're walking down, this will take you directly down to the river. The Vermilion River, where the kids were said to try to have escaped in the middle of the night. You can see how cool this place is and how creepy it can be. So let's take a look at some ratings. The first rating we're going to take a look at is the location. The location, it's Gore Orphanage. It's at a dead-end road. It's in the woods. There's a crybaby bridge nearby. It has it all. We give it a 10. The haunted backstory. This has a cool backstory of the mansion burning down, the kids burning, and then you can come down here and see it. That's a good solid 10. The paranormal activity is also a 10. You can get a lot of paranormal activity down here, day or night. Finally, the creep factor. Gore Orphanage is creepy. We're going to give it a 10 there too. This makes up for a total of 40. That's a perfect score. Okay, we're here at Gore Orphanage, and this is where the mansion used to be. We're kind of in the basement of the mansion, and this is really what most people think of Gore Orphanage. When they hear the words Gore Orphanage, this is where they think of. But there really wasn't an orphanage here, and that story is well told. The internet is full of stories about how this really wasn't the orphanage, but it was the mansion, and it did burn down. And there are still legends and rumors about this place. You can visit Gore Orphanage, but just be careful. It is still Metro Parks property, and you still have to abide by the rules unless you want to get arrested. But come check it out. It's kind of a cool place. We're here in the woods in Lorain County Metro Parks, just outside of Vermilion, Ohio. Okay, so this is the first stop on our tour. We're going to visit other paranormal spots in Lorain County you can check out too. Come on, let's go. So our next stop is going to be to the Dean's Hollow Bridge. And the Dean's Hollow Bridge is this cool old bridge with kind of a weird backstory. The story about this bridge, 2 things. Number 1 is supposedly a man hung himself from this bridge, or at least before it was replaced with the bridge you see today. When this man hung himself, his body remained there for over a month before somebody finally discovered him. His ghost was so upset, he made a curse. The curse was, if you see his body swinging, you have until midnight to live. I'm not sure how much of that story is actually true, but kind of makes for a cool, creepy backstory. The second story is also of what they call Devil's Heartbeat. At one point, there was an oil pump that would pump gas or oil from the ground day and night. And it was soft, but it would constantly beat to the point where people kind of likened it to a heartbeat. So the area became known as the Devil's heartbeat, which is kind of a cool story associated with it. The location is cool. It's in the middle of the woods, not far from Gore Orphanage, so we're going to give the location a 6. The next is the haunted backstory. It's kind of a cool story about the guy dying, hanging himself, and then the cursing anybody who sees it. We'll give it a 7. Paranormal activity. I don't know too much activity here. Nobody has really explored it too much, but we're going to give it a 1. Finally, a creep factor of 6. It's creepy. It's down in the woods. It's dark in the middle of the night, and plus the bridge is pretty cool. So that gives us an overall final score of 20 for the Dean's Hollow Bridge. Moving right along, the next stop on our paranormal tour is to Maple Grove Cemetery, just outside of Vermilion, Ohio. And for the uninitiated, Maple Grove Cemetery is the final resting place of the Wilbur children of Gore Orphanage fame, as well as the angel statue. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in just a couple of minutes. The location is 7. It's cool. It's in a graveyard, and it's kind of in the middle of the country. It's kind of cool. The next thing is the haunted backstory. It gets a 5. It houses the Wilbur children, as well as the kind of cool story about the angel statue that would fly away and with glowing lights. Paranormal activity 5. There's a local psychic who swears she sees children disappear sometimes and they're wearing period clothes. Creep factor, it's an 8. It's very creepy, especially at night, with the angel as well as the Wilbur children, for a final score of 25 for Maple Grove Cemetery. And our next stop on North Coast History and Haunts Paranormal Tour of Lorain County. The next stop here is at Maple Grove Cemetery, just outside of Vermilion, Ohio. And behind me is the grave of the Wilbur family. And the Wilbur family was known to be the spiritualists that inhabited Rosewood, which would eventually become what we know as Gore Orphanage today. The Wilburs were buried here. They were noted spiritualists. Please ignore the gunshots in the background. Here's where they're buried. It's supposedly haunted. Nobody's really still sure to this day if the children died off-site or actually died at Gore Orphanage. I guess it remains to be seen. There are newspaper accounts that said they died in Berlin Heights, which is a community just down the road, but some people speculate that they really died at Gore Orphanage and they're still buried there today. It's a mystery that might never be solved. But this grave is known to be haunted, as well as this is the cemetery that contained the angel statue. And the angel statue also has a weird history too. The statue, the grave marker, is still here. It's in storage in a building right over here. But this is the statue that said if you looked in its eyes, the statue would fly away. This headstone had crazy elaborate wings, and the eyes would glow if you stared at it too long. Most of those are probably legends and rumors, but you can check it out for yourself. So check out Maple Grove Cemetery here, just outside of Vermilion, Ohio. It's just down the road from Gore Orphanage. You can check it out. Watch out for the mosquitoes, and talk to you soon. And the next stop on our paranormal tour of Lorain County is the East 21st Street Bridge in Lorain. As bridges go, this is a big bridge. It's kind of dark and foreboding, and it's really isolated. It's in an industrial part of town, and it just has a really, really strange, dark vibe to it, especially at night. There's a story, a legend, about a woman who walks the bridge. She's wearing all dark, and she's in the sidewalk. She's not walking on the sidewalk, to the point where numerous cars have actually gotten in wrecks, as well as there's been documented evidence of people ending their lives from jumping off this bridge. So overall, it's really dark and foreboding. It spans the Black River, which runs through Lorain County. So overall, it gets a 7. Not only is it in an industrial part of town, but it's really dark and really isolated. The haunted backstory, we're going to give it a 6, just for the shadow figure of the woman. It sounds like maybe one of those hitchhiker kind of stories. Paranormal activity, there's 3 people have reported seeing this woman. I couldn't find a lot of documented evidence, especially as it relates to a particular person. The overall creep factor, we're going to give it a 5. It is creepy. It is a bridge, and you probably don't want to be caught walking on it by yourself. This gives it a final score of 21. But this is the haunted 21st Street Bridge in Lorain, Ohio. And the next stop on our tour is the Black River Ghost Ship. The Black River Ghost Ship sits in the shadow of the 21st Street Bridge in Lorain, Ohio. Nobody's really sure how the ghost ship got here, but it's here now. It's been here for about 20 years. It's long since abandoned. At one point, it used to haul cars in and around the islands of Lake Erie, but it's here now. It's abandoned, and it's really isolated. It's kind of hard to get to. The best way to do it is probably by kayak or by boat. You can go right up to it. It's not far from the mouth of Lake Erie. There's several YouTube videos about it if you want to learn more kind of about its history. Next, we're going to talk about the haunted backstory. It's weird. How did it get here? Nobody knows what happened to the crew. For that reason, the haunted backstory is going to give it a 9. Paranormal activity, we're going to hold at 0. I'm not sure of anybody who's ever done any investigation. I haven't heard any stories about that. The overall creep factor, we're going to give it an 8. It's kind of creepy. It's weird. You don't know who's in that boat. You don't know where it's been. You don't know anything about it. It's dark and foreboding. The overall final score is an 18 for the Black River Ghost Ship. And our final stop on our paranormal tour of Lorain County is the Lorraine Pier. Some people call it the mile-long pier. It's in Lorain, and it extends out into Lake Erie. At the end of the pier, you get a really nice shot of the Lorain Haunted Lighthouse, which is pretty cool. There's been reports of people seeing shadow figure and hearing footsteps of people that aren't there, as well as hearing voices of just strange people and phenomena that go on this bridge. It's especially dark and foreboding at night, but be careful. Okay. So let's give it a ranking. I think the first ranking we're going to look at is the location. It's pretty cool. We're going to give it an 8. It extends out into Lake Erie, and you can see the Lorain Lighthouse, which is really cool. It's great for picture taking. The haunted backstory. I'm not too sure about the backstory. We're going to give it a 3. I've heard different things about people being murdered there. Paranormal activity is a 9. People have seen shadow figures and different things going on. So we're going to give that a solid 9. The overall creep factor is a 9 as well. It's a pretty strange, dark place, part of Lorain's history. Overall, we're going to give it a 29 for the Lorraine Pier, and there's a lot more information about it online. that's it. We hope you enjoyed this kind of fun ranking system of some of the paranormal places in Lorain County. Gore Orphanage got a 40. The Lorraine Pier that we're looking at now got a 29. Maple Grove Cemetery got a 25. Dean's Hollow Bridge got a 20. Lorain Ghost Ship came in last at 18. You can visit all of these places, and I'll put links below. We really hope you enjoyed this kind of silly, fun video. Have a great Halloween, and stay tuned for more.
Ha ha ha!